Hey, good morning, everybody. Just wanted to get on and get going and start talking about the Bills versus the Eagles for a preview. So, first off, Paul from Hashtag Sports, you may notice that I am all by myself. That is because my co-host Mario Granada actually has a lot of commitments later today. He has a football game that he has to call for the Brockport Eagles, so that's what he's going to be doing. So very, very busy man. My apologies for stream quality. If you're getting a little choppy, my apologies. Just you don't need to look at my face. Believe me, I've been told many times I have a face for radio. So if it looks a little choppy from the video production standpoint, just excuse that. Wanted to get on here only for about 20 minutes at most, and kind of talk about Bills, Eagles, and preview. So first off, if you haven't seen Mario's most recent Film Room Friday that he posted late last night, you're going to want to make sure that you swing over to Hashtag Sports YouTube page and take a look at that video. He does an awesome job breaking down a lot of different things from Allen going through his RPOs, and what his reads are in an RPO, what he's looking at, to tendencies they need to have, and teams are starting to exploit on the defensive side of the football. So there's a lot of cool stuff there. It is a little bit on the longer side, but he goes through probably 7 or 8 plays. And probably one of the biggest things that I want to call out right now is the Bills on third down. You saw the Patriots bring 8 against the Bills in third down. You saw Miami bring 8 against the Bills on third down. You just have to believe that when we get into third and sort of a maybe 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7, what Mario refers to as behind schedule, which is anything over than 5 yards and third down, you're going to start seeing a lot more pressure, right? The Patriots did it a bunch. Miami did it. You have to imagine the Eagles are going to do it. And that's just something to keep an eye out before we get started. So good morning, everybody. Yo, let's go, baby. Yeah, you know it. Hey, Ron, what's going on? 585, let's get it. I want the non-political take on Brian Daboll. I promised to remain PC on our channel. I did make that promise. So I would promise to remain PC. Paul Berg, there's the little fella. Paul Berg actually in the 716 right now. I had to give him recommendations on places to go eat. Where'd you end up last night, Paul? And I'm in Batavia later today. So autograph signing today at Batavia Downs. Most Bills players are going to be signing from 3 to 5. Some previous Bills players are going to be there. Drew Bledsoe, Lawyer Malloy, Ted Washington are going to be signing on the outside of the 3 to 5 area. So from 3 to 5, Bills players, Devin Singletary, Duke Williams, Trey White, Levi Wallace, Ed Oliver. I'm going to forget some. That's okay. Harrison Phillips. I think there's one more. Are going to be signing from 3 to 5. They all, you do have to pay for all the autographs. Okay. So I don't want you to think that you don't have to pay for them. You do have to pay for each individual autograph, but well worth it to go spend $20 to $40, grab these autographs. I think Oliver's like 55. But I have a very special surprise because Mario is unable to be there because he's calling the game for Brockport. So there's a very special surprise for him that I got to grab while I'm there. And also, we have a Trey White piece of memorabilia that is one of a kind that we are very excited to get signed. And that's going to be part of the giveaway that we're going to do later in the year. So really, really excited for that. Everyday Flash, thank you, man. Hey, appreciate that. Thank you so much. The Jets should hire me at QB. They call me the Ghostbuster. I ain't afraid of no ghost. The ghost working for me, tripping up those opponents in the secondary. Yeah. So, man, Darnold got put to the coals for saying he was seeing ghosts, right? So when people talk about seeing ghosts, what they're actually referring to is they're talking about he's seeing blitzes that aren't there, right? So what he's doing is pre-snap, he was seeing stuff that never happened, right? When he talks about seeing ghosts, that's what he means. Is he's out there and he's looking at the play and he's not seeing, he's not reading pre-snap what's happening. They're disguising really well what's happening. There's a lot of funny football vernacular, but the fact that Sam Darnold got caught with his mic on saying he's seeing ghosts out there is hysterical. Because all I want to do is I want to take lowlights of Sam Darnold and put it up against like film of ghost hunters where they're like running through haunted houses, screaming at the top of their lungs after like an incomplete pass. I want to do it so bad. I want to do it so bad. But if you're going to be in Batavia or in the area, you definitely come out to Batavia Downs today. I'm going to be there with Joe from Believers Talk. He's actually already there. He texts me saying greetings, good morning from Batavia. So that's where I'm going to be for a little bit today. I'm not going to be there all day, but I'm going to be there in the 3 to 5 window, getting some stuff signed. So that way we can do a lot of giveaways here at Hashtag Sports. We've got a lot of stuff coming up for charity that we're really excited about. All right, so let's talk Buffalo Bills football, shall we? So first off, this game is going to be littered from a efficiency standpoint. This game is a heavyweight bout. And what I mean is these are two teams that are just going to control the clock. You're going to not see a ton of drives. The Bills and the Eagles are ranked pretty much the same across the board. The Bills are scoring like 20 points a game. The Eagles are scoring 24 points a game. The Bills are 7th in the league in rushing. The Eagles, I think, are like 13th. The Bills are 21st in the league in passing. And the Eagles are 20th. So a very, very even matchup. So we're going to see what happens and what transpires. But the thought process here is these are two teams that love to control the clock. And if you look at Philadelphia's interior rushing game, I just don't think they can compete with the Bills across the front four. Now, Matt Milano if he does play, is going to be limited. The Bills are very, 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 very careful with soft tissue injuries. So the fact that he's even going to suit up for this game tells me that the Bills staff are very concerned that he might need to play. I do not expect him to start. I would just kind of expect him to see him out there, test it, and then back out. If the Bills go up, I would expect his day to be over. But if the Bills need a big stop, or there's a drive that's coming up where they're going to need Matt Milano, he's going to be out there. But I would not expect him to start. I would not expect it to be early. I would expect to see him in there, test it out, come back, stretch it out, and then just kind of see where that goes. So let's hit the comment section real fast. Chuck Christopher, good morning. Ron telling me to make that Darnold video. That's a Mario thing. I'm absolutely sure that would work. And I would love to put the Ghostbusters theme behind that. So thank you, Everyday Flash, for that idea. That's a brilliant one. Oh, hey, Rum Boys Northeast, Butcher's Block. Good morning, Paul. Good luck this week. Yeah, same to you guys. I mean, I don't mean that, and I'll say that to you every week. I don't mean when I say good luck to you. But, good luck. I said this on a broadcast earlier this morning. Wouldn't it be amazing if the Bills won 13 games and yet still got the wild card? Can you imagine what would happen in the city of Buffalo? The Bills win 13 games and they just win the wild card. People's heads would explode. Straight explode. Anyway, let's get back to the comment section. Mikey Mike, Eagles have given up like 80 points their last 2 games. Yeah, the Eagles were kind of heralded for their run defense. And that is definitely something that they got torched for against Dallas, right? So last game against Dallas, I think gave up like 180 yards on the ground. And that was rare for them. That is not a common thing. Do I think the Bills are going to try and take advantage of the Eagles on the ground? Well, history says this season, the Eagles have not been a team that you can ground and pound on. But if you take a look at what Dallas was able to do to them last week, different story. Now, Dallas, of course, is one of the best offensive lines in football. You're going to hear that. But so do the Eagles. The people are talking about the Eagles as being a top 5 offensive line. So can the Bills use their interior zone blocking scheme to get through that defensive front of the Eagles? I'm having to think that they can. I would like to see more Devin Singletary. If you want to see more Devin Singletary, you go ahead and let me know in the comment section, because dear God, give me more Devin Singletary. He's got 5 touches the first 2 games each. And then the last game that he was healthy for, he only got 7 touches. I need to see a little bit more Devin Singletary in this offense. He's what brings explosion to your offense. He's your big downfield threat. And also Duke is questionable with his shoulder. Is this finally the game that we see Robert Foster? Man, so much to unpack. The trade deadline's coming up. Oh my God, there's so much to talk about. Tim Ellis, what in the world is going on with the Eagles players throwing shade at each other? Did you see that? It does have effect come game time from Tim Ellis. Yeah, you're absolutely right. So there's tweets all over the place of players calling out others inside the locker room. First off, you never want to see that. It's like Adam Gase is their head coach. The players are hating each other. So you never want to see that. And kind of the crux behind all of it was a lot of players feel like the Eagles are still running off the Super Bowl high, where they don't feel accountable for the things that are happening. Listen, the Eagles have a losing record right now. And their back is against the wall because I can't name any teams off the top of my head. Some of you might be able to. None come to mind. I cannot think of a team that won their division starting the season 3-5. I can't. Not a single team comes to mind who was 3-5 and ended up winning their division. I'm sure in the history of football it's probably happened, but I none of them come to mind right now. The Eagles have to win this football game. They have to. The Bills are not in a position to have to win this football game. They're at a road of 10-1 right now. If you look at the next games coming up, 10-1 is well within their reach. But unfortunately, the Eagles players are killing each other. And the one tweet that I saw says that it starts from the top. I don't know if he's referring to Doug Peterson, their head coach. Maybe he is, right? Maybe after you win a Super Bowl, you feel accomplished, and maybe you don't show up to the office as much as you do. That's what it sounds like, but I don't want to say that that's a fact. That's what it sounds like from the tweet. Who knows, man? Who knows? All right, let's get back to the comments section. Mikey Mike, the secondary LB core is really, really weak. Oh, yeah. I mean, for the Eagles, yeah, it sure is. We should be able to get that passing game going. Yeah, their secondary is rough. Sean B, should be a good game. Allen has to stop staring down his receivers and get through his progressions. If we can, we will win. Another thing that we saw in Film Room Friday by Mario was Allen locking out on one side of the field during his reads. Now, there are a lot of times in the Film Room Friday, Mario tells you this is the right read. This is the right pass to make. However, Allen makes his life a little bit tougher here by staring down the receiver. And he has had a history of doing that this season. The Film Room Friday, once we're done with this stream, go check that out because you're definitely going to pick up a lot of stuff for the game upcoming. 585, Emmanuel Sanders on the team would have been dope. I wonder what Beane was willing to offer and what made him withdraw. Emmanuel Sanders, interesting case, right? Because here's a guy, he's 32, I think, coming off an Achilles injury, which never goes well. You never want to be coming off an Achilles injury, one. And two, those types of injuries are weeks long for recovery. And I mean, not only weeks, but sometimes years. Josh Doxson had an exact same injury, and it took him 18 months to recover before he was back to getting explosive. Emmanuel Sanders is just a freak in that regard. Now, would I have loved Emmanuel Sanders? Sure, I would have. But Emmanuel Sanders he's going to play a lot of his snaps out of the slot, right? And from a scheme standpoint, as much as I love Emmanuel Sanders, because I really do, I just don't really know if he would have been a fit here. Is he number one? A number one from the slot? Yes. Is that really what you need in Buffalo? I'm not really sure, right? Because if you're looking at running him, you can't shift Beasley outside. So from a scheme standpoint, Emmanuel Sanders not being here doesn't really shake me up as much as it should. Although I would love an addition to the wide receiver group. Him not being it, that's okay. That's fine. Ron says we need more Singletary. Absolutely, like that cowbell. We need more cowbell. We need more Devin Singletary. We need Devin Singletary in this game. And for God's sake, get Foster in the damn game. Duke Williams questionable with the shoulder. Very possible for Duke Williams to end up not being active. They said he's going to be a game time decision. He's going to go out there and test it out. This could be the game Robert Foster finally makes it in. But the problem is, if Foster's a game time decision, does that really mean that he is part of the game plan? Right. You would like to see a week where you kind of have an idea that Robert Foster is going to be active. If he's just thrown in there because of injuries across the board, he's not going to be a major part of the game plan. So that kind of sucks to think of it that way, but it's the truth, right? That is the likely scenario. Matt Ronkowski, we should see more of both Singletary and Foster. Maybe Foster is just being saved up for once we hit once we start getting into a little bit of a harder part of the schedule. I hate to say that the Bills are hiding something, but who knows, man? I'm not there. I can't tell you. James Sanders, how cool would it be if we win with the Philly special? Oh, my God. That would be cool. That would be cool. We know John Brown could throw a football. We've seen that. It would be kind of cool. But I feel like they kind of would see that coming, right? I feel like they'd kind of see it coming. Let's hope the game doesn't get to that point, right? Really, let's hope that the game doesn't get to that point. Jesus, hopefully we could stop Howard better than we stuffed Miami's run game. Very different interior run styles. Howard is a bruiser, and Mark Walton is not. I really feel like, the Bills were willing to give up that interior on the inside against Miami, because if Miami's going to play clock possession game, the Bills are going to win that football game. Miami's just not very good. So, sometimes you have to give a little in the game of football, and they were willing to give to keep Tremaine in space so that that way he could kind of make some reads without having Milano next to him to cover up for that faster level of play, because Maurice Alexander is like your fourth linebacker on the depth chart. You had to start him because of injuries. That's okay, right? That's okay. I'm happy. I'm a very happy man to say that, I don't think Philadelphia is going to be able to run on the interior of the Bills. I have Jordan Howard on a couple fantasy teams. Don't ask me why. Desperate times call for desperate measures. I have no intentions of playing him against the Bills. There's under no circumstance would I start Jordan Howard against the Buffalo Bills from an Eagle or from a fantasy perspective. Rico, Rico Ali, do you think we should trade for Vic Beasley? That is something that Mario has been screaming about. He loves himself some Vic Beasley. Loves him. And there's a guy who is going to be coming up on a contract soon. Teams looking to shed cap. Vic Beasley is definitely someone you can go after. Now, the question is, does he fix your problem at linebacker? Well, he's a rush linebacker. So he kind of is going to fit in the mold. He's going to be a hand in the dirt guy with Trent Murphy and Jerry Hughes. Now, if one of those guys gets banged up, you do have Daryl Johnson still, who is now healthy. He should be active for this game. I think you're a little bit deeper at that defensive end position, because while Vic Beasley is quote unquote a linebacker, he's a rush linebacker. So I'm not really thinking you need it just yet. Marvin Jones, a little bit of a different circumstance. He's a guy that can play outside. I'm in to add any outside receiver. But again, you have Robert Foster on your team. So you add an outside receiver, you're essentially saying, well, we're not going to use Robert Foster this season. At that point, you might as well just trade him. They're not waiving him because they know he's going to get picked up by another team. They could put him on the practice squad, but he'd never clear waivers. So one of the reasons why Robert Foster is still on the roster but inactive is because they know they can't waive him because they will lose him. It's probably easier to hold on to him and see what they can get as far as trade value goes. Mikey Mike, San Francisco overpaid for Sanders. I agree. I wouldn't have given up more than a fourth. They give a third and a fourth. Ron Enoch says, I think if Bean is going to make a move at all, it won't be till Monday. No, you're not going to see anything until at least Monday. Scott Blakely. Oh, thanks, Scott. Hey. Thank you, sir. We need to stop the run and the tight ends. Do you think we can without Milano? Yeah. Okay. Couple things here. The Bills have a few options, right? You got a whole legion of safeties on this football team. You got Siran Neal, you got Dean Marlowe, Jordan Poyer, Micah Hyde, Kirk Coleman. You got 5 safeties on this team. And I know that you've seen Siran Neal in a linebacker role. He's kind of that linebacker hybrid that you see in the nickel package. Maurice Alexander actually was a free safety and strong safety for Arizona the last time he was a starter. So asking him to play linebacker is, again, really, he would have only seen that nickel coverage before. So it's not something he's super experienced at. If we're talking about Ertz, I'd rather see Milano in, right? For obvious reasons. Do I think Milano can keep up with Ertz? Yeah. Can I think Trey could keep up with Ertz? Yeah, of course I do. Do I feel that Siran Neal could keep up with Ertz? No, I don't. I've seen Siran Neal chase too many tight ends down from behind this season. If I'm looking at a matchup with Ertz, I have to take Dean Marlowe. He's the next biggest guy you got. He's better in coverage than Siran Neal is. Siran Neal is really a guy that you want in there to help you with the run, not with pass coverage. So if you're going to see nickel coverage, again, the Bills are going to try and stay out of nickel as much as they can. That's why they had Mo Alexander, but Corey Thompson's going to be healthy. So I don't know enough about Corey Thompson to be able to tell you whether I'm comfortable or not in that. Corey Thompson probably gets the start this week over Matt Milano for obvious reasons. If Corey Thompson gets the start, I would expect the Eagles to test him early, right? You want to test that early and see what happens. So I have a feeling you're going to see some Zach Ertz early in the drives, and Corey Thompson's going to be tested. If Ertz comes in, one catch on 2 targets for 6 yards, then Ertz might have a quieter day. But for all in all, Corey Thompson, I'm a bit more comfortable with than Siran Neal, and I know nothing about Corey Thompson in a pass coverage avenue. That tells you where I am with Siran Neal in pass coverage. Scares the hell out of me in pass coverage. Mikey Mike, if we see Lorenzo Alexander match up against Ertz or Goddard's in coverage, woof. Lorenzo Alexander, that's not his thing anymore, right? Trying to stay in protection. But we saw a lot of crazy things last week. We saw Trent Murphy and Jerry Hughes dropping to pass pros. So you might see a little bit of that if they're worried about Ertz sneaking out into the flat on anything. Dallas Goedert is a really good tight end. They do run a lot of 2 tight end sets, and they run a lot of wham plays. You guys may not be familiar with what wham plays are. So what a wham play is when the tight end half motions, so they come in, and they may stop at the end or they might continue their motion. Ball snapped, and then the tight end comes in through the center or guard gaps, right, to kind of act like a lead blocker. So you may not see the Eagles in 2 running back sets. You're going to see them in 2 tight end sets, and they may run a few wham plays to try and get the interior blocked in, so that way they can get Howard in some space on the interior. So they run a lot of wham plays. So watch the tight ends in motion for Philadelphia. Just because they're in motion, they may short motion. It may be a run play on the interior. Not many teams run wham plays anymore. It's kind of an old school football thing. But you might see some wham plays. Mo Alexander is just too small. I mean, that's from Jesus. Yeah, the dude was a free safety. He was just out there trying to hold it down until Corey Thompson got healthy again. Duke looked fine in practice. He doesn't need his shoulders. That's from Everyday Flash. Knock people out with his ribs. Duke is an angry man on the football field, and I love it. I absolutely love it. Matt Ronkowski saw the video of practice with Allen throwing deep to Foster and Brown. Again, it's those videos of practice of, Allen hitting deep passes. They're there. The question is, will Allen see it in film room? There's on Film Room Friday, Mario breaks down a play where John Brown is by himself on a particular play. It wasn't the wrong read by Allen. Just it was an opportunity for Allen to go deep that he didn't see. He did make the right read and did make the right throw, didn't complete the pass. The pass where he threw it behind to Beasley against Miami. I'm sure everybody remembers that play. It was early in the game. Allen RPOs to Singletary, fakes the handoff, throws to Beasley, but throws it behind Beasley, who wasn't even looking. John Brown had beat the man on the outside by a country mile. So it wouldn't have been that deep a throw, and it would have been a 50-yard play. It was beautiful play. Just unfortunately, they couldn't keep up with it. So it happens. Tim Ellington saw a practice update where a guy said Josh Allen passing deep in practice for the first time in weeks. They have to start passing the ball deep. You're going to see that teams are going to start going single high on Buffalo, daring them to try and throw deep because teams don't believe that the Bills can complete deep passes right now. It's just the way that it is. Sorry, I'm a little behind in the comment section, guys. I'm trying to catch up. Chris Statton, Pat Gore up in the 90s style. Well, we're going to treat him like Garth Snow. Maybe put some wooden blocks in his shoulder pads, like Garth Snow did for the Flyers against the Bills. Wouldn't that be some sweet justice? When you think about that. Go back and make a Sabres reference at a Bills game. Ronald Enix plus Edmonds can watch for the tight end over the middle. Rico Ali, Robert Foster needs to play so him and John Brown can terrorize the secondary. They do miss. The truth is, guys, the Bills wide receiver group does not have any true deep threats on it. I know John Brown can be considered a deep threat. I understand Andre Roberts can be considered a deep threat, but by NFL standards, these guys are not deep threats. Robert Foster is 6'2". He's the same height as Duke Williams, and people forget that they're the same height. But Robert Foster brings something to the game that other people don't, and that is the ability to absolutely and truly stretch the field, right? He can truly stretch a field. John Brown can get down the field, right? But when you start talking about height being an issue down the field, I don't care who you are. If you're 5'10 going down the field versus a guy that's 6'2, the guy that's 6'2 is going to catch the football in a more likely scenario than a guy that's 5'10 because he doesn't need as much separation and the angle for the catch is a lot easier. So that's why guys like, AJ Green and Julio Jones, they're such downfield threats because their reach is absurd against, cornerbacks that are 5'8", 5'9", 5'10". John Brown has to fight a lot harder for downfield catches than somebody like Robert Foster does. John Marlowe says, I would pound the game 70% of the time, or pound the ball 70% of the time, Beasley, and get Yeldon underneath. We didn't see TJ Yeldon at all. I don't expect to see TJ Yeldon. Now that Devin Singletary is healthy, all those Yeldon snaps in pass protection, they go to Devin Singletary now. So that's kind of the way that that's going to be. Also, one thing to be mindful of: Devin Singletary took a lot of his runs in college out of shotgun formation. A lot. I mean, most. We haven't really seen Devin Singletary do that this season, but again, he's had very limited touches. I think 17 touches the first 3 games that he's played. So once we start seeing Devin Singletary, be a little bit more involved, you're going to see them come out of shotgun because that's a look that he's real familiar with. So expect if you're going to see Devin Singletary, he's in shotgun formation. He saw most of his rushing attempts in college out of shotgun, so kind of expect to see that again. Shivas Gold, did we drop Poyer last year when Milano went down? We did a little bit. You don't want to drop Micah Hyde down because Micah Hyde had a really nasty tape from Green Bay when they tried to do the same thing. It was not good. So then you had Jordan Poyer do the same thing. Yes, but you also saw Raphael Bush primarily in that role, right? So if they needed that extra linebacker, they really used Raphael Bush last season. Bush I think it was like 4th in the team in tackles. He was way up there. The exact number off the top of my head isn't there, but Raphael Bush killed it last year in that role. Probably one of the reasons that he said, yeah, guys, I'm done. I'm not coming back. He ran into a wall, 16 games last season. But Corey Thompson's going to be taking that role. And again, you'll see a little bit of Robert Foster here and there. Let's see. 585 says 13-3. A little early. Okay, it's not that early. The Bills are really knocking on the door at 10-1 right now. You could see the road to 10-1. Cleveland's a harder team than it looks, man. I'm telling you right now. Cleveland's schedule, if you were the Bills and you played Cleveland's schedule, the Bills might be 3-3. Cleveland's schedule was nasty. Nasty. Chuck Christopher, I'm afraid this week Dabes goes to the run. The Eagles can't stop the pass. Wouldn't that be we've been begging for the Bills to start running the football. Wouldn't that be, I don't want to get into it. That would anger me to see the Bills, commit to the run as aggressively as a lot of us want. This is not the game to do that. Real quick story. I want to point this out. So if you're looking at splits, I know a lot of people are talking about Brian Daboll making great halftime adjustments. I disagree with that narrative. Halftime adjustments happen at halftime, right? If halftime adjustments happen at halftime, then why does Josh Allen have more sacks in the third quarter than he does in the fourth quarter? He has all his interceptions in the third quarter, none in the fourth quarter. He's thrown no touchdown passes in the third quarter. All his second half touchdowns have come in the fourth quarter. He's got a 137 quarterback rating in the fourth quarter. He's got a 37 quarterback rating in the third quarter, which, by the way, if you take a snap and spike the ball on every single attempt, you get a 39 quarterback rating. So his quarterback rating in the third quarter is actually lower than if he were just to spike the ball every single pass attempt. So a lot of people talk about third quarter, halftime adjustments. I don't really believe that. I don't feel the Bills' halftime adjustments have worked. Their third quarters have looked pretty shoddy out of a few games that they have played. It is their adjustments in the game in the fourth quarter that have been effective, not their halftime adjustments. When I hear people say their halftime adjustments have been effective, I just want to set my hair on fire because that's not true. It's just not true. Shivas Gold, Edmonds should be the key to stopping those tight ends. I agree. The problem is once you pull Edmonds into coverage, you open up the middle gaps, right? Which is where Philadelphia, you may see them start breaking off some of those rushes. So we'll see what happens. You gotta have to pick your poison a little bit there. If you want Edmonds in coverage, you have to understand that it's going to come at the cost of gaps 1 through 4. If they could break through the line, you're looking at some pretty hardy gains there. Blackfoot, we need a dominant edge pass rush there until the offense gels because the defense puts up whole games and the offense hasn't yet. The talent on offense just isn't there. They're just not on the same page yet. A lot of people are concerned about pass rush with the Bills. And historically speaking, if you look at things that Sean McDermott worries about, the sack numbers are not one of them. If you go back and look at his defensive coordinator history at Carolina, he does not care whether they're putting up tons of sacks. That does not bother him at all. Doesn't bother him at all. He does not need 15 sack guys. That's not something that's a priority to him at all. Not a priority at all. But I agree with you. Having another edge rusher would be nice. But I agree with you. Having another edge rusher would be nice. But I agree with you. Having another edge rusher would be nice. But I agree with you. Having another edge rusher would be nice. But I agree with you. Having another edge rusher would be nice. But I agree with you. Having another edge rusher would be nice. But I agree with you. Having another edge rusher would be nice. But I agree with you. Having another edge rusher would be nice. But I agree with you. Having another edge rusher would be nice. But I agree with you. Having another edge rusher would be nice. But I agree with you. Having another edge rusher would be nice. But I agree with you. Having another edge rusher would be nice. But I agree with you. Having another edge rusher would be nice. But I agree with you. Having another edge rusher would be nice. But I agree with you. Having another edge rusher would be nice. But I agree with you. Having another edge rusher would be nice. It would be nice to have another edge rusher. Some weird looks that we saw in the game last week. We saw Shaq Lawson in at defensive tackle. It was a 3rd and long situation, but hey, who knows? Who knows? Anything could happen. Jeff Farner, word. I'm going to keep sliding down through the comments again. I'm going to try and catch up a little bit, so excuse me while I do that. Pablo Acosta, they haven't played Robert Foster because Josh Allen hasn't proven he can throw the ball deep. Chicken or the egg on that one, Pablo. I'm going to walk the line a little bit different. I don't think Josh Allen has been effectively able to throw the ball deep because Robert Foster hasn't been on the field. They haven't really had a true deep threat. I know you could say that about John Brown, but again, from a success ratio standpoint, I mean, you're really looking at Robert Foster being the guy that you want on the field. So chicken or the egg, easy to stand on either side. I'm going to disagree with you there. I think you haven't thrown the ball deep because the best guy that runs a 9 routes ago, the best 9 route runner on your team hasn't even laced up his shoelaces, for a meaningful game this season. Tables of consciousness. Josh Allen checkdowns his reads better and finds the right targets. Josh Allen has been locking out of targets a little bit, but I've liked the fact that the underneath game is definitely there. Again, you kind of have to pick your poison. We wanted Josh Allen's accuracy to increase. It is there now. He's absolutely improving the things that you needed to improve on. Some of his RPO checks haven't been great, and that's one thing that I'd like to and hope to see improved for this game up against Philadelphia. Some of his RPO checks just haven't been awesome. He's checked out of plays that would have been clear run for gain. He's checked out of them to throw incomplete passes. So, there's some things from the RPO game that I'd like him to clean up. But if overall, am I thinking he's reading the wrong receiver? No, he's seeing a lot of the right reads. He's just late on a lot of the throws. That's really what it is. Matt Rakowski, the balls have to be almost perfect to get shorter receivers. Referring on deep passes, yeah, you're absolutely right. T mentions that Allen didn't throw the deep ball well last year either. I put a little bit of that on Robert Foster. He had a little trouble tracking the football. Allen wasn't super successful at throwing the ball deep last year, but he connected on some. And we're just not there right now. We're just not there. Let's see here. We're going to skip down. Daniel Gary's established the run, but Josh needs to exploit a weak Eagles secondary. Again, the Eagles got torched on the ground last week. Maybe there's something on that film that the Bills have picked up from the Dallas game that they can exploit. Who knows? Browns versus the Pats should be fun from Monkey P. The Browns are a better football team than everybody gives them credit for, man. I'm telling you right now. Their offensive line is hot trash. Like if you set a dumpster on fire, that's just their left tackle position. But the truth is that the Browns are a better football team from a skill position standpoint than a lot of other teams in the NFL. Their offensive line is a joke. That's what it is, man. Scott Blakely needs to start talking re-sign with Trey, Poyer, and Milano. We'll get expensive if we wait. You're absolutely right. So a little bit different when you start talking about Trey White, Matt Milano, and drafted players than somebody like Jordan Poyer or Micah Hyde. So the players who were drafted, you cannot even discuss with them a contract extension until January 1st of the 3rd year of their contract. Okay, so their 3rd year in the league, that's when you can start talking about contract extensions. However, you cannot actually discuss an extension with them until January 1st of their 3rd season. We're not there yet. So Trey White, Matt Milano, all those guys that were brought in that draft, you can sign them to an extension, but you cannot even discuss it with them until January 1st. Just a little bit of the rule there. So yes, it's something I agree with you. It's something that they need to do. It's easier to spend the money now than it is to spend the money later, especially for guys like Trey and Matt Milano who are playing out of their minds right now. And it shows, building a locker room that you can earn that contract extension before due, which would be awesome. Houston, halftime adjustments, basically using the bathroom and adjusting your body parts. Got a cup check, important part of the game. There's not a lot of time to draw that stuff up. You're absolutely right. But that's why a pro scouting department is actually drawing up your halftime adjustments at the end of the second quarter. They go down and give them to your offensive coordinator. So the halftime adjustments haven't been great. You can put that on Brian Daboll and the staff. You could put it on just the staff. You could put it on Brian Daboll for calling the plays that he knows the staff are putting together. Maybe Daboll's making adjustments. I wish I was in the room. I can't tell you. Lots of opportunity there, but whatever it is, their process at halftime doesn't work. And it hasn't worked. So that needs some adjustment, whatever that is. I can't tell you whether that's Daboll, whether that's the staff, whether it's we're playing the hokey pokey. It's just a little bit of both. I don't really know. Daniel Garies agrees with me. Write this day down on the calendar. By the way, Daniel, I wrote you a fun little letter. Everybody that's getting a hashtag bracelet, they have all been mailed. You'll get a letter included with them. I wrote a personalized letter to each of you. Every letter is different. I sent out like 80 of these things. So literally every single letter is different. So when you get something from hashtag, it is always going to be individual. We're never going to send you a pre-printed letter. Thanks for being a Bills. No. I hand wrote a lot of letters. I did it to sign Mario's name. You're welcome, Mario. Is the handwriting of a prison dentist. Terrible handwriting. So the only reason you're even going to get your wristbands is because I wrote out the letters. Real talk. I could see 9-2, 10-1 feels unlikely. The Bills will only beat one out of Philly and Dallas. I understand why you feel that way. John comes in and says 28-20. Yeah, that definitely feels like a thing. Wait, 28-20. Mario's mind in the chat right now. I just see a post from hashtag sports. I'm like, I don't write anything. Joshua Clark says, whoever is messing with Allen's deep ball mechanics needs to stop. Here's the thing. That was a little bit on Ken Dorsey, your new quarterback's coach. You have to assume that Ken Dorsey is the one working on that. Jason Jones says, predict the score for this Eagles game. Yeah, absolutely. Put your score prediction for the Eagles game. Go ahead and pop that in to the chat. I think that this game is... I think this game's going to have lower possession numbers. I gave a number on our stream with Dan Mitchell, and I'm kind of rethinking that a little bit, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. John says I could also see 27-17. I don't see Allen throwing for 300 in this game from Monkey P. I agree with that. I don't think the Bills are going to run as many offensive plays as they have in previous games. Table of Consciousness says 13-10 Bills. Woo! Woo! That's a tight one. That is a tight one. Scott Blakely says 31-17 Bills. Allen throws for 300 yards. Ron says 31-24 Bills win. That's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off. Thank you so much, Jeff Farner, for making dodgeball reference. You are one of the reasons that I get up to do these streams every day when we get comments like that. Love it. Love it. Love it. Yes, prison dentists have bad handwriting, Jeff. That is a fact. Prison dentists have terrible handwriting. Mario's handwriting is awful. You're welcome. I did you all a favor. Rico says, I have no confidence in Ken Dorsey. He didn't really improve Cam Newton while he was with his throwing mechanics. Now he's going to improve Allen. I think that's a fascinating take. But that's the truth. That's where we are. He's the quarterback's coach. So whether you like the hire or not, Mario and I had been calling for Ken Dorsey for a while. So this is absolutely okay. Maybe me was calling for Ken Dorsey the most. This is definitely a situation where I could have a ton of egg on my face. Since they hired Ken Dorsey, we will see what happens. We'll see how this one plays out. So because prisoners bite their fingers. That's right, Maestro. You got it. That's why. Good one. Mario's yelling at me in the chat. My apologies for those of you who have to deal with that. So the final score will be 4-2 Buffalo from Orion. Nailed it. Yeah, Daniel backs up. Yeah, it was definitely me. Yes, this is a home game for the Bills. They are playing the Eagles at home. Joe from Believers Talk and does the play-by-play for us on Sportscaster and on his channel. If you haven't followed Joe here on YouTube, go over and follow Joe. We definitely want to get him to 1,000 subs because Homeboy's doing all this for free. I love the 3 safety idea. Oh my God. I love it. I absolutely love it. It's so funny. Oh wait, okay. Do you think the Bills are holding back plays for tougher games? No, I really don't. But again, I don't have a ton of faith in the game plan. When you take a look at the splits, right? You take a look at first half Josh Allen versus second half Josh Allen. Josh Allen has attempted half as many passes in the second half as he has in the first half. That tells me that their game plan going in is not the game plan that they're coming out of. And I understand adjustments need to happen, but that's a total revamp. When you're attempting 123 passes in the first half and you're only attempting 66 passes in the entire second half, that tells me that things aren't going the way that you planned it. I understand the Bills are playing from behind, but you would also kind of think that when you're playing from behind, you'd attempt passes a little bit more, but they kind of go to the well pretty early. And some of that could be Allen. Allen could be checking to those passes early in the game, and they're going into halftime and like, Josh, you gotta run the football a little bit. You got to take what's there. Maybe that's it. Again, I'm not in the room. I can't tell you, but I can tell you that there's a massive statistical difference between first half plays and second half plays, which tells me things aren't going as planned, which tells me that their game plan isn't going as planned, which tells me that I don't think they're hiding anything. That's just kind of where I'm sitting so far. Monkey P says the Bills have been lucky with their schedule so far. Yeah, they have, but I mean, so is every other team in the AFC East. The downside is one team is the Jets, one team is the Dolphins, and they can't take advantage of that. Of course, the Jets go and beat Dallas. Now everybody thinks the Bills should roll Dallas. Dallas just rolled the Eagles. Like, football is such a crazy game. The games and matchups are fun to play, but everything changes when the lights turn on that field on Sunday. So we'll see what happens. All right, guys, I got to wrap this up. I'm very excited about this Bills game. You can watch Mario and I doing play-by-play on Sportscaster. That is your real-time, because there's actually an update coming out. We're hoping that it's ready. So we are going to be doing the play-by-play for the Eagles game. Turn down your TV sound, turn up #sports on Sportscaster or here on YouTube. YouTube has a longer delay. That's the problem. It's a longer delay. So it's going to be 7 or 8 seconds on a delay at least. So if you're watching the game, you're going to hear the audio reaction a little late. Sportscaster, you don't have to watch us. That's fine. Just want to listen to us. Go ahead. The delay is only about a second, maybe a second and a half. So just one of those things that we encourage you guys to do. Come join us. Come hang out with us. We're talking Bills football the whole time. So everything you need. And Chuck Christopher asks, with video, that is actually the update that Sportscaster is releasing, where we're actually going to be able to broadcast the video of the game while we're doing the play-by-play. But again, hopefully that update is ready. We'll find out. So I'm predicting a Bills win, as I'm sure all of you are. Make sure to hit this like button on your way out of the video. Go over, check Mario on his Friday film room. Go like Joe from Believers Talk. He's going to be at the game. I'm going to be at the Batavia Downs later today between the 3 to 5 time frame, getting some autographs signed for you guys to do giveaways. And we're, of course, very excited about that. And I will see you all soon. Talk to you later. Mario's better than Paul. Ha! Not in a room, homeboy. No way. Take that boy to the octagon. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Paul is greater than my Greg Thompson. You guys are awesome. I'll talk to you guys later. I'm going before you guys burn all our bridges to the ground. I'll see you later, guys.